Hiya, folks. It is time for Wildcard Weekend. And the break, I am never doing that again. Oh, God. Welcome to Wildcard Weekend, folks, and we are ready with the list. Tennessee Titans face off against the New England Patriots with the Chiefs taking over second seed and the Baltimore Ravens taking out first seed. Tennessee Titans winning up with the Steelers, losing their final game against the Baltimore Ravens and losing their first straight game against the New York Jets. And they came off a big winning, the 4-game winning streak. Following up, they were third best in the AFC North, following up a lot of injuries. The Steelers had no chance of making the playoffs in the first place, and I made that potent in most of my outtakes over the NFL season. Buffalo Bills, strong, unexpected team making it over to 5th seed. Last time they were 8th seed, holding up the wild card against the Jacksonville Jaguars that were top on defense. Before Jalen Ramsey left, AJ Boye was kind of scuffed, or pass rush was terrible. But you guys won against the Colts, and the Colts used to be number 2 in their division. Houston Texans coming up with 4th best, and felt like they were a better team along the way. Teams eliminated from the playoffs, kind of obvious because they're the worst teams. And yeah, while first seed goes to the San Francisco 49ers, and they were and division championship was on the line against the Seattle Seahawks. That could have taken it away if it wasn't for the big 2 games they lost. One was against Arizona, and that came off terrible defensive schemes. They can't get used to the freaking Cardinals like shift and their young talent. And it took a close heartbreaker back on Sunday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers. Packers had a big smooth sailing coming back from 3 seasons missing the playoffs. And Vikings following up losing some undersold games. And even losing the final one against the Chicago Bears. New Orleans coming in what looks like the easier victory. We are not getting Minnesota Miracle to again. Seattle Seahawks play off against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I am just doing predictions on the ongoing. I am not doing the Russian roulette as doing the entire playoff series. Because if I do, my heart's about to break. I'm not that big of a channel to begin with, so I can get away with doing this any other week. So I can make this perfectly clear. Chill out. Whoever got the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, even though they got 12 wins and they still came off 3rd seed, and they were the quietest first seed. You know why? Because they didn't actually face off against any real teams until I think week 11, week 10, when they had the Baltimore Ravens. They got snuffed against the Houston Texans. They got snuffed against their division rival. That's supposed to be going for the lottery pick. The Patriots weren't contenders. They were just there because they were better than any other rebuilding team with an aging quarterback, an underdeveloped, aging pass rush, and the best thing being Stephon Gilmore cropping them out of close ones. You think anybody cared about the Patriots going 12-4? They might just scuff around the Titans because the Titans have not won a playoff game in years since Chiefs, and they have just really undersound secondary. They do have an alright secondary, but it's going to be terrible because they can't blitz for their life. I've seen off their games against the Texans, their games against the Colts many times, and seen how average they are on the run, but they can't stop White. They can't stop Sony Michel. It's just gonna be rough. So I'm just thinking they'll pass through wildcard, but divisional round and conference championships, it's going to be freaking difficult because they came off one of the second to last teams to go on an undefeated streak until the San Francisco 49ers winning streak ended against the Seattle Seahawks back in November. And they came off beating teams like Pittsburgh Steelers were injury prone. all the way. Miami Dolphins were trash. They scuffed them by 40. Came off Darnold having a few good plays until Patriots snuffed them out because they're the freaking Jets. Buffalo Bills near shocker and lowered them up to 16 points. Beat the Redskins, no surprise. They beat the Giants. That Daniel Jones only had a few good plays over the Golden Tate. And the Jets again, still, no surprise, beat the Browns because they were bad. Their offensive line was trash. I don't know where their attendance comes into play, but it's still average point yardage for Tom Brady until it went down. Came the Baltimore game where they came from a near 235 every game to at least near under 220, and then it kept getting inconsistent. He even went off the Cincy game where they still came up close, and the Bengals had a lead until led Dalton over to 151. Patriots still won though because of the crappy offense. Let's just say that they came undersold. They're still a team, a constant playoff favorite, and the Patriots have the most playoff experience coming out of the AFC. So chances of them being stuffed up in the wild card round would be offensive. We might be able to see a few weaknesses to see what's going to happen in the second round, but they ain't losing to the Titans, that's for sure. So that's the that's the wild card round. That's the wild card round done for the Patriots. I'm gonna go up the NFC now and see what's gonna happen because we have the Seattle Seahawks playing off against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles have technically another Cinderella story. That's not gonna happen because their team this year has been such a bad thing to watch. Jalen Mills was only a notable person to come back from injury over the past 10 weeks, and then over the past several weeks, and then he came up allowing at least several touchdowns a game. The Eagles were just poor. Let's just go over the stats, because as soon as I go over the stats and you see how much they fell off in the Super Bowl season, so coming to the talent they had, well, I think they had Malcolm Jenkins, Bennett, decent pass rush where you can get behind and they can slow down the football from the rushing part of things because running football is still the most important part of the game and how they stop NFC championship Atlanta Falcons from making it to the wild card a couple of seasons ago after the Super Bowl push. And then they closed it short against the Chicago Bears that one time. Let's just say that they've been kind of saved off lucky moments because Julio Jones could have made that touchdown that time in the corner before. Falcons could have made it to the next round. If it wasn't for that double doink was still going to happen. The Bears were still going to get Cody Parkey from the streets and just mutilate him in public because that was just the worst thing to watch in my life because I've seen him miss several kicks before when I had the NFL Red Zone, and now watching him just fail makes my heart hurt. It just hurts. It doesn't ache. It just hurts. Cody Parkey deserves what he gets, and that's unemployment. And now they got the Seattle Seahawks team with an MVP candidate in Russell Wilson, decent running back rotation, and now they got a playoff experience in Marshawn Lynch. With a pretty decent defense because you're not getting Frederick Clowney, Shaquem Griffin, most of their corners. It's just going to be difficulty beyond the expression. I'm still shocked that the Los Angeles Rams didn't make it to the playoffs with a 9-7 record because the NFC West was so good this year. That's how good they were. Shockingly, I think Arizona only won 5 games this year. Arizona only won 5 games. Yeah, they won 5. It was pretty rough though, because no one suspected such a team like the Eagles, even though I think they're one of the only teams, with a above 500 record than the Dallas Cowboys that ended up 8-8 because of better passing schemes. They have a smarter quarterback that can maneuver down the pocket more than Dak Prescott can just chuck 50-yarders over to Michael Gallup or Amari Cooper and just inconsistently hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott. I watched a lot of Cowboys games because we thought they were going to be anticipated. It was just a joke because I knew they were going to choke, underperform, or just play crappy. They played crappy, and it ended up with them going 8-8, other than a decent 10-6. Now look at them. Look at them. Poor passing yards, poor rushing yards, even though they don't have that many bad running backs, and Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders, that was a surprise. Iker Whitehead, Jordan Matthews, just not that bad. Not that bad talent. And they keep underselling them because Doug Peterson cannot coach a football team, and I've seen that of calling play actions off third and short, just making sure that freaking we always keep Carson Wentz running for his freaking life and not running the football when perfectly potent that the running backs are actually doing their jobs and they're not that bad. Now they lose Alshon Jeffrey and another good receiver. They're already poor on first downs. You know how bad they are on third downs? They're 104 to 229 for third downs. Wentz did have a good season though. As poor as their offensive line as their scheming has been, Wentz still threw for 4,000 yards of a 63 pass percentage. Just tremendous. Especially when all you have is Wentz and Greg Ward. Then now you got to pass to and still Zach Ertz that we don't know how many times until he gets his ass hurt. Jordan Howard had a decent 500-yard game. I didn't even know Josh McCown was on the team. That shocks me. But now we get to see the receivers that we might have to deal with. That comes into Dallas Goedert, second-string tight end. Alshon Jeffrey, that won't be able to play because of injuries. Greg Ward, Boston Scott, that's an all-right receiver. Josh Jenkins. Deshaun Jackson, that's still injured since week 1. That I think people said he won't be coming back until like the divisional round. The conference championship, even though he won't have time because the Eagles kind of suck. And nobody even knew if any NFC East team was going to make it to the playoffs above 500. So, there was a lot of negativity coming out of the Eagles. And Eagles fans, I've seen even on the internet, being completely realistic. Now we got Nelson Aguilar. Thank God he's hurt. He sucks. Can't read routes for his life. Wentz, he can't get deep threats. He's not good to use in any slot routes. He's not even that fast of a receiver. If you see Nelson Aguilar catch a ball, it's either when he's wide open. I don't like watching Nelson Aguilar. And I'm not saying this to feel like a douchebag because I'm in New York. I'm saying this because he literally sucks and is mediocre as a receiver. And he hasn't performed all right since playoff games and their Super Bowl push. Derek Bennett. There's a few guys that are like limited in practice, but other than that, Zach Ertz is most primitive because he is literally maybe the third or secondary target that Carson Wentz throws to, and he's literally the NFC equivalent for the tight ends, the Chiefs tight end, and Travis Kelce. And that's literally NFC's Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz. So, yeah! Kind of a heart attack if you're an Eagles fan if he doesn't come to the WildCard game come tomorrow. So, yeah, that's kind of the scariest part. There's also Lane Johnson. their tackle. Please God. They need somebody for pass blocking, and they are not good in run blocking. You can see off their stats and their games. They have allowed tackle for loss a lot. Next up, Saints. Case Keenum's Cinderella story is over. Now you got Kirk Cousins that's a decent decision maker. But now you got a good running back in Dalvin Cook. Adam Thielen, Rudolph, Stephon Diggs, Madison. Just really good team to work with, but they've been falling off over the last 3 games. And the Vikings were somewhat favored, but we knew the team was getting carried somewhat off of talent-wise other than decent coaching scheme, but their defense is still top in the NFL. And they're only coming up with 6 seed because they've been losing the last couple games, even though I thought they were going to go at least 12 wins this season. They went 10. And you're playing off against a better all-around team. And great follow-back season where over the last 7 games when freaking Drew Brees was hurt, Teddy Bridgewater took command, and you had Michael Thomas second that has glue for hands, and Alvin Kamara killing over the ball with also a second string. That's not Mark Ingram. Fuck out of here. Baltimore Ravens winning the whole shebang. We win in playoff by fuck the Patriots. East side. I mean, Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. A whole lot of not a gang shit. So, it came up with I feel like the Saints are just going to take this easy W by at least by like 14, 21. It might come into fumbling being a factor. I don't feel like Kirk Cousins can rule a shootout because we know he comes to accuracy and he's a pretty good quarterback, but not to feel like he'll be like Coden because you still have Marshawn Lattimore, only Eli Apple's injured. That comes into Minnesota's best friend over. I'm not going to say his name. Other than that, pretty good. I feel like the Saints have a high tolerance on winning other than a few injuries on the defensive side. But they play it smart. I see the Saints picking up an easy dub, and they'll be at home. So I just want to see one of them. I just want to see one of them face off against the freaking Packers. That will be because the aren't Packers undefeated in the NFC North. So that would be pretty ridiculous to see. Other than that, the Seahawks and Eagles got to face off against the 49ers. And I just want to see Rodgers face off against Brees, and that would be a great matchup to see. So, yeah, I just get what I want. And we know Seahawks are just going to face the Niners. And unless everything goes to shit for the Saints, it's just going to be Saints and Packers. And that's easy, while the AFC is a bit hard to predict. Because, Bills have a kind of a tough one. Because they get to face off against the Houston Texans that are also defensive heavy. And talk about Watt. Decent on the secondary. They're not that potent in running because their rushing has been declining as of late. Even though Carlos Hyde can get third down conversions done with, he's just running out the edges and he's gonna just get stuffed up clearly because the Bills can do something like blitz, and that's rough for the Texans that hasn't done well off smart defensive units like the Colts. And I feel like the Bills that are just identical. So, yeah, that's going to be rough to see. Just really happy to see if the Bills can actually pull this playoff push because they haven't won a playoff game since the 90s. And they came up close in a defensive slugfest with the Bills with the Jaguars last time, but they came up with them still being one of the worst offensive teams. Succumbing to the worst points with only being top 25 in most of them. And Oliver, he picked up a good rookie in Cody Ford, that's not bad. Dawson Knox, Cole Beasley, that became a reliable slot. Josh Allen can just run over the football, but I feel like he's just going to get sacked a couple times over the pocket because they're a bit more sick. I just feel like the Houston Texans are just going to win this game. So, yeah. That's gonna be me going over the wild card games. It doesn't seem like that hard unless injuries play a factor or just pure skill and scheme play a factor. Uh, you comment down below who you think is gonna win the wild card. I strictly think it's gonna be the freaking Patriots going for the Titans by double digits. At least down by at least 7 coming from the Texans because the Texans just have better weapons on the offensive front. Except the loss of Will Fuller. That's rough. Still, decent tight end. Still have Hopkins to deal with. You in better off defensive plays. Not much off defensive plays, but I feel like this is just gonna be a low score, and they're just gonna be up by 7. Unless Josh Allen can just run past everybody, uh, this is gonna be a tough game to call. Because I feel like Allen has been doing okay. Suggests still. I think he's an all right play improviser up the pocket. He just uses his size over his legs and just chucks the ball when he needs to, but he throws rookie mistake picks. And the guy still doesn't know how to develop that much in the pocket because I feel like he's just an all right decision maker and chucks up the football when he needs to. Josh Allen had a career game though, 3,000 yards, over 200 completions. Has a decent yardage percentage of only getting 6.8, 6.7. He's doing okay. Matt Barkley, that I only remember from last week, raping the fucking Jets back in November. Frank Gore getting 500 yards, getting near 600 yards. And Devin Singletary, John Brown, Cole Beasley killing it. John Brown going for a 1,000 yard season. And he got some big plays out there. TJ Yeldon stolen from the Jags. Wow, you guys are retards. And Isaiah McKenzie. Dawson Knoxout's not that bad over to catch short route plays. I feel like this is just going to be defensively sound because I don't feel like none of these guys are like premier scores until like a big turnover is made. So, yeah, I feel like just the defense is just going to pick up the slack. No disrespect to the offense, just if you don't think Jordan Pryor, Tremaine Edmonds, Levy Wallace, or Tre'Davious White is not going to score the football over turnovers more than the offense, you're completely retarded. Because you know what, this is going to be early in the weekend wildcard rounds, right? Right. Just being honest. So, yeah, thank you for watching. It's coming out of wildcard predictions. More are going to come out the way. So, yeah. Show you what's going to be happening over the week so I don't jinx it come wild card round and everybody starts losing. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and join the TST show.